All right, today we are diving into one of the biggest, most fundamental shifts in the history of video games. We're talking about the moment when the characters in our games stop just following a script and actually start to think.
You know the one. That classic line. You've just knocked over a whole suit of armor, made a huge racket, and the guard just shrugs and decides it was a gentle breeze. Yeah, for decades, non-player characters, or NPCs, have been a little bit, well, dumb.
And it's that moment that just completely shatters the immersion, right? You're supposed to be this master assassin, you do something clever, like leap onto a table to escape, and the super-trained enemy soldier just short circuits. He'll spin in a circle, give up, and then walk straight into a wall. So, why? Why does that happen?
Well, to understand why, we've got to look under the hood at the technology that has been running pretty much every game character for the last, 40 years. You see, they're not thinking. They're basically digital puppets just following a really strict set of commands. It's all based on a system called a finite state machine. And the key thing to get here is that this is not intelligence in the way we think about it. It's just a flowchart, a giant list of if this happens, then do that rules that a human programmer had to write out by hand. So picture this. An NPC is just in its default patrol state, walking back and forth. Then a trigger happens, you walk into its line of sight. Okay, now it switches to the chase state. If you manage to get too far away, another trigger fires and it goes into a search state. It's logical, sure, but it is incredibly rigid. And that right there is the core issue. If you do something the programmer never thought of, like, say, standing on that table, there's no if-then rule for it in the flowchart. The NPC has no idea what to do, and the whole illusion of a living, breathing world just completely falls apart.
But here's the exciting part. That entire era is finally coming to an end. Developers are moving away from writing these rigid scripts and are instead starting to train intelligent agents that can actually learn and adapt all on their own.
Now, this big shift is happening in a couple of really cool ways. The first is something called goal-oriented action planning, which is all about giving the AI a goal and just letting it figure out the plan. The second is reinforcement learning, and that's where the AI literally teaches itself everything from scratch.
So, let's start with goal-oriented action planning, or GOAP. In the old system, a programmer would have to write a specific rule, like run to cover behind that exact crate. With GOAP, the designer just gives the AI a high-level goal, like survive, and a toolbox of things it can do. Take cover, attack, flank, whatever. The AI then looks at the battlefield in real time and decides for itself the best way to achieve its goal. It makes its own plan, right on the fly.
But, okay, what about something way more complex? How in the world do you program all the tiny, subtle movements and behaviors of a massive, mythical creature like a dragon?
The answer is, you don't. You don't program it at all, you train it. With this other method, reinforcement learning, the whole approach flips. The developer stops being a programmer and starts being more like a coach. You give the AI a digital skeleton of a dragon and one incredibly simple goal. In this case, it just gets points for every second it manages to stay in the air. That is it. No instructions on how to flap its wings or use its tail or anything.
And then, the AI runs millions of simulations. It fails over and over and over. But with every single attempt, it learns a little bit more about what works. Through this insane trial and error process, the AI develops these complex, realistic, and sometimes totally unexpected flying behaviors, the kinds of subtle movements no human programmer could have ever possibly scripted by hand.
Now, this new intelligence isn't just about movement. In fact, maybe the biggest revolution of all is happening in how we're going to talk to these characters. Think about it. For years, conversations in games have felt like a multiple-choice quiz, right? You pick from one of three options, and the NPC plays back a pre-recorded audio file. But with generative AI, we're talking the same tech behind things like ChatGPT. That's all changing. You'll be able to say anything you want, and the AI will generate a unique, in-character response right there on the spot. No two conversations, no two playthroughs will ever be the same again.
So you might be thinking, if this technology is so revolutionary, why isn't it in every single new game? And the truth is, this level of AI unpredictability creates a huge challenge for game designers, who have to find a balance between that creative chaos and actually controlling the story. They're facing three main hurdles. First up, pacing. You just can't have a player asking the main villain about the weather during his big, dramatic monologue. Second, there's safety. An AI can hallucinate and just make up bizarre or even offensive stuff that a developer can't predict. And finally, hardware.
Running these super complex AI models takes a ton of processing power, and that's a really big ask for today's consoles and gaming PCs.
But even with all those challenges, the direction we're headed is crystal clear. The very definition of a non-player character is changing right before our eyes, from just a simple background prop into something much, much more.
This quote really captures the entire shift perfectly. We are moving beyond these digital puppets that can only follow a pre-written script, and we're entering the era of the digital actor, a character that can improvise, react genuinely to you, the player, and even learn from its interactions.
And what that really means is that the next time you jump onto a table, that guard might just decide to kick it over, or call for backup, or find some other clever way to get to you. Yeah, the days of the immersion-breaking, wall-walking guard are officially numbered.
And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating final thought to chew on. When the characters in a world can learn from your actions, when they can remember your past conversations and develop a unique relationship with you, at what point do they stop being just a part of the game?